Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Sandman. Today I'm going to be discussing my absolute most favorite tension wrenches. Let's get into it. First off, is it a tension wrench? Is it a turning tool? Or is it a tensor? I'm going to be honest with you. I have over 35 books just on lockpicking alone that date back over 60 years, all the way back to the 1960s. And I can tell you definitively that all three terms are used interchangeably across all of those books. There is no incorrect term, whether it be turning tool, tension wrench, or tensor. So you are not incorrect to use any of them. You can call it a gobbledygook. I don't care. It's a tool that is used to cause rotational force on a plug so we can create some binding pins in a pin tumbler lock. That's all that matters. You can call that however you want. Also, we know that some of these designs have been seen in the Lockpick Design Manual published in 1973. And on page 16, we have the original bottom or top of keyway pry bar as first seen in this SAK system, which was developed in Europe and taught to American operatives and government officials in their covert entry course, which probably would have been DAMES, the Defensive Against Methods of Entry. So we have these tools that go all the way back to 1973, and then we have other tools that go back even further than that. So I'm well aware of the terminology, I'm well aware of the history, and I have 95% of all the tools available in the world today. So there are over about 30 modern day manufacturers, to include all the ones coming from China. So 30 modern day manufacturers. And then we have about 13 or so that have been discontinued. And then we have a manufacturer that produces anywhere between 10 or 15 sets of tools for resellers. So we see a lot of products on the market that actually come from the same manufacturer. So if you own a complete set of tools from that one manufacturer, you essentially have all the tools, without the branding. So I have 95% of all the tools available on the market. So this is a pretty good opinion if I do say so myself. Now, some of you don't want to sit through a 20-minute video, so I'm going to give you the answer quick, short, and dirty. If you buy all three of the Multipick tension wrench sets, I will link them in the description down below. You will have one perfectly complete set of turning tools. I mean, this thing is awesome. Now, they do have some turning tools that don't come in a set just yet. I think they may offer that in the very near future. But if you have all of the turning tools from Multipick, you have all of the turning tools that you need in the entire world. I can't think of any company that offers turning tools that are as unique as Multipick. So I did purchase all of these tools on my own with my hard-earned money. This is my own opinion. However, Multipick sent me more of the same tools, and because I told them, I was like, hey, I'm going to do a review on your turning tools, just FYI, is there any other turning tools? And they're like, yeah, Sandman, we're going to send you some more. So they sent me the spanner tension wrench set 1. Then they sent me the tension. This is the set 3, the Christina Palmer set 3. And then they sent me the tension wrench set 2 right here. And so they were like, you can give them away or you can keep them. I'm going to keep them. I'm going to explain why. I like to have all of these turning tools at my desk while I am picking my high security locks or just my regular locks. I can do a lot with just regular locks. I honestly can. But when I have all of the Multipick turning tools at my disposal, why is this not in focus? I am able to do so much more, and we'll talk about all the reasons why that is. So when you take all those tools and you put them into a case, that's what it looks like. And the reason why I'm being greedy today and not giving these away is I want this to be the case that I take with me to locksport meetups. I go to several of them. I run my own locksport meetup group, and then this will be the set of tools that I keep at the house. So I don't have to worry about losing tools as I transition from home to the meetup group. Now, if we are going from left to right and we take a look at the very first Multipick Elite Spanner set number 1, we have more traditional designs here. Something we're going to see locksmiths using throughout the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. So we have a double-ended rigid turning tool with a Euro profile end right there. We have an actual spanner wrench here. The spanner wrenches are really great for super wide keyways. Back then, they weren't making 2mm top of keyway pry bars. Instead, you would have had to have used a spanner wrench to be able to span a gap like that, such as this Medico M4 right here that's not wanting to go into focus because my camera hates me. It really does. It honestly does. If my camera could talk, you'd be like, I hate you, Sam, man. So anyways, so we also have a single, very thin, very light, rigid turning tool. Then we have a Euro profile ended turning tool here, very similar to this guy. And then we have a double prong turning tool. This is for those locks that have like automotive locks or any type of wafer lock that has a dust flap on it. This will hold open that dust flap while you pick in between. And then we have the ever famous and very old style of half twist bottom of keyway turning tools. These are really great for raking. And then we have this tool right here, which is, I presume, is going to be great for something like safe deposit locks and mail locks. I don't deal with that type of stuff. I'm just in the hobby. I'm not a locksmith anymore. So that's what we have right here. These are all very traditional. This is something you would have seen in Raitan. This is something you would have seen in Southord. HPC sets would have had a lot of these stuff, especially this double prong here, the half twist there, you know, maybe a spanner wrench or two right here, like in the lab set. Would have seen that in the 80s. This is a very common pick set we would have seen 20 to 40 years ago. And I absolutely feel that it does have a place today in even modern locks. I think this is awesome to add to any kit. And then we have a Multipick Elite Spanner set number 2, which is the evolution of turning tools, because this has a very large emphasis of pry bars. Now, pry bars were actually first seen in 1973 in a lockpick design manual on page 16, as I may have already discussed, and we have that right here. It's the exact same design. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Here it is right there. Boom, bada bing, blah, blah, blah. There are manufacturers today that I will not name, Ken Peterson of Peterson Manufacturing, who will try to, I heard that, who will try to tell you that they invented that along with the question mark and a whole bunch of other dumb things. Just kidding about the question mark. But they're trying to put trademarks on this. They didn't invent it. It was the SAK system of tension is different from the American style of tension. This is a European design, and it's been out since 1973, but people like to play on your lack of knowledge, and they want to try to take advantage of you and everybody in the industry. But he popularized it. He was one of the first people to manufacture the pry bar style of top of keyway tension tools, and then Multipick expanded upon it and offered a whole bunch of different thicknesses. When these first came out, they were only offered in 40 and 50 thousandths, and then they started offering in 30 thousandths. I'm referencing Peterson Manufacturing, but Multipick went one further, and they have these in 0.8 millimeter, 0.6 millimeter, 0.7 millimeter. Oh gosh, 1 millimeter, 1.2 millimeter. This is an absolute complete set. I love it. So this was the evolution. This is something we started seeing about 5 to 10 years ago. So that's this guy over here. So that's tension wrench set 2. And then Christina Palmer, very famous lockpick designer, came in, and she has consulted for over 2/3 of the lockpick manufacturers that are around today. And she helped them design and devise this amazing set right here. This is my absolute set. If I had to pick one set in the world to only buy, if I didn't have $1,000 to buy turning tools, this isn't $1,000 but if I only had, let's say, $100 to buy turning tools, I would buy this set right here. And this set is absolutely amazing because of all the different widths of these turning tools. I should have organized this prior to the video. That's okay. So you have some locks where the lock sits flush in the keyway. So let's take a look at this Primus right here. This Primus sits very flush. I want to have this tension wrench sit perfectly flush against that lock, so that way I can provide excellent tension, and I can provide counter rotation. I can do float picking. I can do all kinds of stuff. But if the lock is actually recessed, like we see on an American 1100, we can't do that. We need something that's a little bit longer. You don't want something that's too long. You would say, well, why can't I just have a really long one? Then it fits all the locks. No, because then it may flop around. You don't want something like this in that Primus right here because it's just sticking out too far. You see that? There's too much movement right here. So you want a tension wrench to match the lock you're picking. I can pick most of the locks that are in my collection. I have over 450 locks in my collection. I can pick probably 300 of them using the same 2 lock picks, but I can't pick them using the same 2 tension wrenches. You need a collection of tension wrenches, and that's why I argue for them. So we have a graduated tension wrench here. We have a 90-degree bend here for the ergonomic, you know, picking in hand. So if I was picking this guy, it's not gonna fit. Hold on, let me find the one that fits. Okay, so if I'm picking this Primus in my hand like this, I want to have an ergonomic curve right here, and that's the purpose of this, for picking padlocks in hand. But if I'm putting this inside of a table vise, then I'm going to put this at the top at a 90-degree, at the 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock position in a table vise, so that way I can grip it with both hands and I can float pick it to victory. That's the purpose of that. So these are my absolute favorite turning tools, because this is the most comprehensive collection of turning tools that is available on the market today, and the quality is just mwah. I love the quality of these tools. When you put them all in a case, it is the most complete set of tools by far. Now, there are still a couple tools that you could add to this that are not available in a set form. For instance, they have these double-ended turning tools. Multipick has these double-ended turning tools, and these are my favorite for everyday carry. Absolutely love these. You get these by purchasing the Christina Palmer set, because you have a bottom of keyway here and you have a top of keyway here. So if you purchase the tension wrench set 3 designed by Christina Palmer, you get those, but I love these for everyday carry. The other thing that I love for everyday carry, and well, let's just pull out my everyday carry kit, is, let me pull that out, ta-da. When you have those 3 double-ended turning tools, I would highly recommend you add the 2 or the 3 double-ended turning tools where you have a medium and you have a long on here. These are perfect for padlocks, and they're perfect for picking door locks, deadbolts, what have you, in that 12 o'clock position for float picking, whether you're dealing with security pins or not. Sometimes it can be hard to pick deadbolts using a 90-degree angle and that ergonomic position. So sometimes it's good to have a pry bar that sticks up in that 12 to 1 o'clock position. So these are currently not available in any of the sets that Multipick sells. I'm trying to see if they would be willing to put these in a set by themselves as a part of a down and dirty everyday carry lockpick set. We'll see if that works out, man. I really want to see that in a set. But so far, you have to buy these separately. They are not in any of the 3 sets that I have mentioned so far. So that is my opinions on everyday carry. I carry the Multipick for everyday carry, and I have these extra. These are just something I added as a part of what I take with me to locksport meetups. So that is that. Now, Sandman, what is, if I don't want to buy Multipick, or I have all the Multipick, what else do you suggest? Well, hold on. I'm not done with Multipick. They also have these Chris Holler tension tools. So these are all 90-degree tension tools, and these were designed by a German lockpicking champion, very similar to the Christina Palmer set of 3 that's in her set, but these are a set of 5, so you can make sure that you fit all of the keyways when you go to your locksport meetup, or you go to compete, or if you're in the field, or if you're at home. This is a very excellent set to have, and you can add that to your set of tension wrenches. Alternatively, I have one more set of turning tools for Multipick. If you're going to be picking dimple locks, I highly recommend you check out the Lock Noob Community Edition dimple lock picks. I really am a fan of these. They come in a set of 6. These will fit every single dimple keyway that is on the market. I still will add a couple random Multipick turning tools from their first traditional set, because sometimes I want a little bit more room with my flag, and I still carry the traditional dimple pick set that comes with your dimple pick set of tension tools that comes with your dimple pick set. Man, say that 10 times. And so, because these come up a little bit closer to the lock, so they don't stick out as much. Sometimes dimple locks will have some type of interactive element that may block you in the keyway from sticking these tools in all the way. So it's nice to have these as a backup, but these are the best. Those are the best. Absolutely love those. So that is all of my favorite turning tools, and they all happen to be from Multipick. I am not sponsored by Multipick. I'm not an affiliate. I guess you could say I'm sponsored because they do send me tools for free to review. Thank you, Multipick, for doing that, because I love their tools. It's an easy decision whenever I do a review on their tools. But let's talk about number 2 in my absolute favorite turning tools. Number 2 is going to be Covert Instruments. They have their shit together. They have some really good selection of tools here. They first came out with these double-ended turning tools right here, which are a Christina Palmer design as well. And these are really great. I love these. The quality on these have always been excellent. I've never had an issue with quality control on these, and they just hit these out of the park. These are great. These are what's found in the Genesis pick set. They're in 30, 40, and 50 thousandths. And then they came out with a turning tool bundle, which was these straight bars here in 4 different thicknesses. We have 28, 32, 40, and 50 thousandths. And then they came out with ergonomic turning tools. What? So, the very first ergonomic turning tools that I saw were actually from Bosnian Bill. He had a collaboration with Peterson Manufacturing, and this is an actual Bosnian Bill turning tool that was sold on Peterson Manufacturing when they had that collaboration like 12 years ago. So this guy would fit right here, and it has a nice little bend there, so that way your finger's not sticking straight up and down. And then it was double-ended, so here's another one right there, so it's a little bit more ergonomic there. And this was a great tool. I liked it. This is the only one I had. I had a full set of these. This is all that's left. This thing's super rare. Nobody makes this anymore. Nobody has made this in 10 years. And this was cool. And it still fit inside of a case because this angle is not super aggressive. Lockpicking Lawyer used to take his pry bars when he was a representative or using Peterson Manufacturing, not a representative, but I think he had an affiliate thing going on there. And he would put a 35-degree bend in these to make them more ergonomic. And I started doing that to my tools. I would buy Peterson tools and I would put a 35-degree bend in them. Now, Lockpicking Lawyer has his own company, Covert Instruments, and he sells these with that bend in them. So he has the turning tool bundle, which is all of these guys. He has a left and a right. So if you are a left-handed lock picker and you are picking locks where the key knob can be rotated counterclockwise, have no fear. Covert Instruments is here, and you could totally do that ergonomically just like that. There are ways to get around that, and I will make a video for left-handed pickers here pretty soon, but they're the first company to actually make left-handed tools aside from, I think, you could probably say that the Mad Bobs are for left-handed people, but we'll get to that here in a second. So they have the turning tool bundle, which has the left ergonomic, the right ergonomic, and the straight bars. And if you already have this guy, I think that's the turning tool bundle. I'm not repping these people. I just think they have really great tools. So this is a really great set of tools. Then they came out with the Echelon set, which is the ergonomic turning tools. However, it's just not double-ended, it's single-ended. And honestly, that's really all you need for these particular turning tools. I really like these in locks where sometimes I'm picking a lock. And I really prefer these double-ended turning tools because it's already ergonomic right here. I've got this comfortable angle right here, and I like having rigid turning tools because I can feel the security pins. But sometimes you'll see this rolling out of the lock often. You'll see it rolling out of the lock as you're trying to pick that front pin. It rolls out. Sometimes the placement of the front pin, this thing rolls out. It just doesn't want to stay. But if you take a top of keyway ergonomic tension wrench right here, like that, it doesn't roll out, it stays. However, this can dampen some feedback when dealing with some security pins, but not that greatly. It's not a big deal. So this is an option when my double-ended rigid tool is failing. Now you can still take your favorite Multipick or your Lock tools or your Moki or your whatever Peterson pry bars, and you can put a 35-degree bend in them, just stick them in a table vise and put that bend in them yourself. It's not a big deal. So that is my second choice of tension wrenches. I sometimes will have these on the couch next to me prior to Multipick sending me the extra turning tools. But now that they sent me all of these, I probably don't have to ever use these ever again. These are a great option. I love these, and they're a little bit on a more affordable side compared to the Multipick. But you know, you get what you pay for. It is what it is. These are great quality. These are great quality. You get more diversity in your turning tools with these. They've just been doing it longer. Covert Instruments has only been around for 4 years, since 2020, and so they're doing a really great job. I can't wait to see what the next 4 years is going to offer us. I think they're really going to lead the way in some of the innovation. So I would say next up, my number 3 option is actually going to be my Moki tension tools. I really love my Moki tension tools. I'm not a fan of these coated 1095 high carbon double-ended turning tools. They work perfectly fine, bottom of keyway and top of keyway. I just don't use them. But what makes Moki stand apart is he has 6 different thicknesses for top of keyway. And this is something that nobody else is doing, 6 different thicknesses. Most people are just doing like 3 or 4 different thicknesses. I think we saw Multipick has 5 different thicknesses, and I think we know that Lock tools has 5 different thicknesses. For some reason, I can't get these in order. But Moki has 6. So Moki has 0.8 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, and 2.0. And I think Lock Tools may have been the first one to create this 2 millimeter here. This thing is huge. And I'm trying to see if Multipick, like, hey, you guys really should get on this, because there are plenty of high security locks where this 2 millimeter fits snugly in, that you have to use a 2 millimeter on. Otherwise, you are doubling up on your tools. You're taking a 1 millimeter and another 1 millimeter and trying to apply that in that scenario. And that is doable. I have done that. I have picked locks doing that. I picked a Medico Classic doing that. But these are very much favored in the locksport community. Alternatively, when people are float picking high security locks, when they're float picking those pins because the core has some type of, this is why you want the larger tools. So this is a 1.5 millimeter, and I put this in here. And if I'm trying to float pick, because maybe there's counter boring or counter milling in the plug or in the core of my lock, I need to be able to manually maneuver this plug without dropping my pins. But if the maneuverability goes from 2 o'clock all the way back to 10 o'clock over here, I'm probably going to drop some of my pins. That is a really far travel. I want the thicker turning tools so that the travel is shorter. This is now 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. I want that. Ideally, I want it to be like 11:30 to 12:30 or even tighter. So that is why we want all the different thicknesses. We want less movement in the traveling so we can have more control of the core. If I'm traveling from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I don't have control of the core from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It's just, there's a lot of movement. So that would be my 3rd recommendation of turning tools here. My 4th recommendation of turning tools is going to be Lock Tools. Lock Tools has a bunch. They have all of those top of QA turning tools, and they have their own version of the ergonomic turning tool right here. It's a little bit large on the large side, so your finger just kind of does this larger arc, but I really love that they went with something original and a lot of ingenuity here. They didn't take a design that has already been used, like the Bosnian Bill or the lockpicking lawyer. They just did something completely different. I love that. And no matter which side you put it in, it's going to be symmetrical. It's not asymmetrical like we see with these turning tools from lockpicking lawyer. Those are absolutely asymmetrical. So these ergonomic turning tools are symmetrical. I like that. They have left-handed and right-handed. These are a really great option. These are honestly probably should be my 3rd and not the Moki, but I use the Moki because it has 3 different thicknesses instead of just 5. That extra thickness there, I think it's like the 3 or 0.2. It really does make a difference because you really want to fill up that keyway. But they're also the same quality. These are all the same high quality as the Moki. They're just as good. I love them. So let me put these aside over here. And last but not least, my number 4 recommendation. So Multipick was number 1, Covert was number 2, Moki number 3, Lock Tools number 4. I would say Lock Tools and Moki are tied for number 3. But let's talk about my last recommendation. I guess this is my 5th recommendation, and that are the Jimy Longs turning tools. Now, these are not available on the market right now, but he has released a double-ended turning tool right here, and he has released these double-ended pry bar turning tools for picking deadbolts. So I use these for padlocks. I use these for deadbolts. I think they're fantastic. They're no different from anything else. Now, someone tried to give me crap in the comments. He goes, Sandman, Jimy Longs just ripped off Peterson Manufacturing. Actually, I thought these were Jimy Longs designs. And then I asked him, he goes, no. He goes, these are Christina Palmer's designs. He goes, these were actually taken directly from her website, elvincraft.com. So these are Christina Palmer designs, directly taken from her website. Where she was inspired, I don't know. Actually, just kidding. She was inspired by the lockpick design manual because I talked to her on the phone about that. So whoever has a problem with some of these turning tools and saying, Sandman, Peterson invented the wheel. Peterson invented sliced bread and the pry bar. No, sorry, he did not. He's just copying everybody else. So these were actually designs by Christina Palmer. I think they're freaking perfect. I love them. They used to be my everyday carry, but I really love showing off my multi-pick tools. The quality here just cannot be compared. These are just as good. However, I just love my multi-pick tools. Now then, what should you not buy? Do not buy. Someday you're gonna come across these set of foul safe lock picks. They'll sell for about $400 for a set because they are no longer made. They went out of production about 4 years ago in 10 years ago in 2014. These were made by John Fall. I call him Foul, but his last name is pronounced Fall, and he is a safe expert and a lock picker extraordinaire. But however, his tools were absolute garbage, and I cannot stand behind them. I've already done a review on them, and you'll see these turning tools, they suck. They're adjustable for top and bottom of keyway. You just adjust this guy right here, and you know, it's like a spanner wrench. They're absolute garbage. Don't buy anything like that. The thing is garbage. It's gobbledygook. Also, I have all of these Sparrows tension wrenches and turning tools. They're all garbage too. They're just, when you have one of these and you feel them in your hand, they're super lightweight and they're just not good. I will say though that I was a big fan of the Mad Bob's ergonomic turning tools. These Mad Bob's here were really cool because you would, let's see, you put them right here in the top of the keyway and you had this ergonomic bend right there. Alternatively, you could flip it and now you could pick it counterclockwise with your thumb, or if you were a left-handed lock picker. So these were a left-handed lock picker option. These are pretty cool. However, they did have one unique flaw that some Sparrows, they don't pick locks, they don't know. So there's this unique flaw here where there's this cutaway right here in the tip. Let me see if I can zoom in right there. So this cutaway right here in that tip, that creates a weak point for that end. That does nothing for lock picking. It doesn't grip the plug any better. All that does is create a weak spot for a shearing force. I can just apply too much rotational tension and that's going to just rip right off. Okay, why on earth somebody would design the tool with that in there, I don't know, but that was the #1 flaw to Mad Bob's. So this is a 10-year-old set of turning tools. This is the original case. Sparrows last year were like, hey, we're gonna come out with our own turning tools. We're gonna call it the Sparrows, blah, blah, blah. And it's just it's just the same thing. They didn't even give homage to Mad Bob's, I don't think, on the website, but they just put Sparrows on it. It's the same thing. However, it's a cheaper material. It's a real cheap metal, and these have a reputation for these breaking off right there. I don't know why they did that. And Mad Bob's is still on Facebook, and you can still, once a year, they'll have a sale. So I purchased their new turning tools, left-handed and right-handed. So I think it's a great design. Overall, I just don't understand why people keep repeating this one flaw. It's like they want you to tear through their turning tools and buy more. So I have, if anybody's made it this far throughout this video, I guarantee we're gonna see some people in the comments saying, yeah, I had those Mad Bob's and they tear apart, they break very easily. I'm on my 3rd set. So that's the problem with those. I can't recommend the Mad Bob's ones or the Sparrows tools. They're a great design, ergonomically speaking, but the design right here with that little tip right there, that's just the weak point and they will fall apart on you. I don't know why they keep doing it. I don't know. Sparrows does that often. So anyways, that's all I have for today, folks. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your favorite set of turning tools? Are you a Multipick fan or are you a Covert Instruments fan? Do you prefer Moki? Do you prefer Lock tools? Do you prefer Jimy Longs? Do you prefer Covert Instruments? Did I already say that? Do you prefer the Sparrows? That's fine. If all you can afford is the Sparrows, there's nothing wrong with that. You can pick locks with Sparrows. I just highly recommend at some point when you take this sport seriously, you upgrade to higher quality, better tools that have better design and manufacturing processes. That is my contention. That's all I have for today, folks. Let me know in the comments down below. Remember, I'm not rich, I'm irresponsible, and I'm just a businessman blessed with many friends, and this is my absolute favorite set of turning tools. I'm gonna have a hell of a time trying to put all this stuff back where it belongs. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.